And we are statically recording. Appreciate you all tuning in. So I got a doozy for you. We're going to be talking about the American-Chinese conflict here. I'm going to try to wrap this up in about 10 minutes. Just give you the precise details and information that you should know in 2024. So let's do it. First, I have an audio recording of a let's see, Tom. I hope I don't pronounce this wrong, but Tom Marazzo. He's a Canadian. He's a Canadian guy. He was in the Canadian military. He's an army veteran with the Canadian military. I believe he was a captain, army captain. Yeah, right here. So, and this is the guy right here. I have an audio recording of him blowing the whistle on Chinese troops, Canadian military training Chinese troops for winter warfare. So we're about to listen to that in a second. Let me just get it rolling for you guys. This is my first time using StreamYard. So I almost said Streamlabs, StreamYard. So if it's a little, the more I use it, the better I'll get with it. So just, bear with me. So we're going to jump right in here. All right, this is the recording of Tom Marazzo blowing the whistle on Canadian military training Chinese troops. This was not only years ago, but even currently today. So let's take a listen.
One thing that's very important, the rumors about the Chinese military training with the Canadian military are actually true.
This is something that has been going on for a number of years. The story broke about 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago. The story broke, and there is a famous picture of a good friend of mine who I did all my officer training with in the Canadian Army. He's doing the grip and grin with the Chinese officer. That was in Petawawa. I was posted there for a couple of years. So we do know. It's been confirmed. I mean, I know the people that have done the training of Chinese soldiers on Canadian soil in both CFB Petawawa and CFB Gagetown out in New Brunswick. And we're training the Chinese soldiers, or we have been training the Chinese soldiers in winter warfare on Canadian soil.
So there you have it. That's from the whistleblower, Tom Marazzo. I don't know his stuff too well, but the stuff that he's been saying definitely is accurate. I have sources in Canada as well, and they're telling me the exact same thing. So give this guy check out his content, see what he's about. It's always good to do your own research, but he's blowing the whistle on that. So, and that's just one front, people. We're gonna go to now. Bear with me. We're gonna go to. We're gonna go to a different segment here. Where the frig is it? Okay. So now we're gonna go here. All right, guys. So look, this is just this is just a basic Google search. Nearly 10 times as many Chinese immigrants crossed the southern border in 2023 as in 2022. In December in 2003 alone, U.S. Border Patrol officials reported encounters with 6,000 Chinese migrants, in contrast to the 900 reported a year earlier in December 2022. So 6,000 in 2023. I'm sure in 2024, this year coming up, it's going to be, if not more. And you have to ask yourself, why is the Chinese government training in winter warfare on the Canadian border? Why is the Chinese government creating islands in the South China Sea near the Philippines, claiming international waters as their own? I have sources in the Philippines that tell me that's also correct. It's not something that's made up. They are in fact building man-made islands off the coast of the Philippines. And these are military establishments too. These are not civilian cities or tropical paradise islands that they're building. They're building military runways, uh, working factories, etc. So why is the Chinese government uh, training winter warfare on the Canadian border? Which, by the way, the Canadian border, you could. I mean, I count Maine. I'm sure there's going to be some of you that let see this and not count it, but I count Maine to Seattle as the Canadian border, versus the southern border is only really from Texas to California. So the northern border is a lot bigger than our southern border, and the northern border is not as well guarded, protected, funded, etc. So, and you see the chaos with the southern border, but they hype the southern border up, so you forget all about the northern border. No one's worried about the Canadians invading, but Canadian, oh my goodness, Canadian people and the American people are allies. Now, the Canadian government, that's a whole different conversation. So, but as you can see, this is just a simple, and then you can see like, the mainstream response. Oh, Chinese immigration to the US is nothing new. Okay, so tell me exactly why the Chinese are migrating to the US when the US has like been the worst it's ever been in history, minus maybe the Great Depression. So makes no sense. Like you come to when inflation is up and you know food prices are going up. I mean, etc. Like, do you go to a country to profit? No, you would probably run from that country. Um, so this is just a basic concept, guys. Like northern border, totally like, and this is just I'm gonna be kind of jumping all over the place here, so bear with me. But something to keep in mind is that the northern most of the Canadian residents live on that border that borders the U.S. Not all of them, but majority of them live there. So the further up you go, the less humanity that you'll see. So if you're able to, like in a time of natural disaster, civil war, nuclear war, I mean famine, whatever. Excuse me. If you go up to this northern, um, not peninsula, but if you continue to go north, I mean, if you can tolerate the cold weather and you can survive off the land efficiently, uh, you're not really going to run into many people, and you can. That's a really great retreat. You could survive if you can live off the land and tolerate the cold. You could survive out there with your family, your neighbors, a whole group of people, just by yourself, depending on who you are. But it's a really great area to lay low and stay out of harm's way. So if you can survive all that or tolerate that, I should say. So another thing is I would recommend any U.S. citizen to maybe get a dual membership, a dual citizenship to Canada, and vice versa. Get a dual membership as a Canadian to the United States, because you never know with the American government and Joe Biden rambling about God knows what, and you have Justin Trudeau who loves the CCP. I mean, it might be good for you to be able to pick up and leave without any issues. That's just something to consider. What else we got here? There is a temporary, like, this is how bad the northern border is unprotected, and how it's like not. I'm sure there are areas that are funded and well guarded or have surveillance cameras, but for the majority of it, dude, like you could walk right across and not have an issue. Um, and within those pockets and within like certain areas, there are definitely temporary retreat there. You probably hold up um, in some form of crisis if you have to get away from the cities and you live in the U.S. Idaho, Montana, Seattle. I mean, any northern state that borders Canada. I mean, if you get to the border, depending on where you are, I mean, Buffalo, New York, probably gonna be kind of tough. Maine, probably gonna be kind of tough. But things, if you have certain things like boats and stuff, and you're more on the east coast of the Canadian border, maybe it'll work out for you. But you know, the Idaho, Montana side of things, um, definitely there's a temper on that border. There's definitely a temporary retreat in case of a crisis. I'm sure the Canadians are well aware of this. I'm sure even the Americans that live on closer to the northern border are aware of this, um, and probably how easy accessible it is. So in certain parts, there's just a little chain link fence. You know, unlike the American southern border, which I've been to in El Paso, Texas. I plan to go to Eagle Pass, but it's pretty bad in Eagle Pass. Anyway, I digress. We're gonna move forward here. I gotta try to keep this short. I'll keep talking forever. So, all right, guys, there you go. You have Chinese troops coming through the southern border. I say troops because it's mostly this says migrants, but if we continue to dig deeper, which would take longer than 10 minutes, you'll find that it's mostly like 9 out of 10 times it's military aged men between a certain age. So you have pretty much Chinese soldiers, troops, discreetly coming through the southern border because it's wide open. Not so much anymore due to Texas kind of really taking back its state and the American values of securing a border. It'll be interesting to see what happens as time goes on with that. But I'm sure California and other places, Arizona, I'm sure all those places, Nevada, whatever, they're all going to be easily accessible more than Texas. But anyway, another front to look at is the Chinese are also trying to outpopulate the Americans. And what I mean by that is obviously there's more Chinese people on the planet than there are American people. And so one of the strategies the Chinese use, and this has been well known, but maybe some of you don't know this. This is actually something I should have pulled up, but I'm already over 10 minutes. So see what I'm talking about, guys? They have Chinese women who are about to give birth. They'll put them on a plane. They'll send them to 9 times out of 10 California, San Francisco, wherever, and they'll give birth to a child on American soil. And if you're an American, you know that the law states, if you give birth on American soil, that baby is now an American citizen. And so now the mother, they typically don't rip, in a case like that, they typically won't rip the mother away from the child. So now you have the legal American child that's an American and a Chinese, pretty much citizen, and you have their mother. Then it's much easier to get the father over from China over, which leads into my next topic here, which is going to be Chinatowns, right? So I'm going to bring up another slide for you. So Chinatowns, I got to just get where the hell is it? Oh my goodness. No, that's not it. I see it on my browser, but where is it? Okay, here it is. Okay. So, all right, Chinatowns. There's a Chinatown in every state of the United States, which is weird. You don't have, like, when you travel to other countries, there's not like an American town where there's nothing but American people there, right? Or if you're a Canadian, there's no such thing as a Canadian town. You go to Australia and they have a whole Canadian town there. It's like, what? That'd be weird. There are 50 Chinatowns across the U.S. There's 50 states, right? I don't know. Maybe there's more than one in one state. I don't know, but sounds like there's one in every state. My home state of Massachusetts, there's one. And basically, the definition, the Chinese government considers Chinatowns, at least in the U.S., they consider them Chinese districts, which is weird. So the Chinese government pretty much has districts in the United States, which apparently we just allow. On top of that, everyone heard about the Chinese police station in New York that got shut down. Now, I'm going to show you another slide. The Chinese police station in New York. Not going to believe this, but oh, do I not have it on here? So, guys, just so you know, I use Android and I use Apple, and I find way more information on my Android than I do my Apple. If you guys have the same, yeah, if you guys have the same, like not issue or problem, but if you guys have like the same experience, definitely let me know in the comment section. So, frick. I couldn't find this information on my Mac. I could only find it on my Android. So the CCP has reported that they have about 110 overseas stations of police stations, right? So it says here that if a Chinese citizen, this is just a hypothetical. This is a hypothetical, right? You're a Chinese citizen, you come to the United States, you experience more freedom than you do in your own country. And let's say you just openly speak against the CCP. Oh, screw the CCP, whatever. What happens is one of these secret Chinese stations, police stations, will find you. I don't know exactly how it's done. I don't know if it's by a letter or if they find you in person, but here it's on the Washington Times. It says they are successful in persuading a return to China by intimidation. What they'll do is they'll imprison your family members or they'll fine them depending on the severity of the crime. But just imagine that. Imagine being an American and then going to like Australia and you're like, oh, maybe you get drunk and you're just like, yeah, fuck the American government. Next thing you know, an American government police station comes out of nowhere and says, hey, by the way, we've imprisoned your Uncle Joe. And if you don't come back to the U.S., more of your family members are going to suffer. It's like, what? So that's going on, right? So in a nutshell, I'm trying to keep this as short as possible. I could talk for hours. The Chinese government is training. You heard the whistleblower, Tom Marazzo, say, Army Canadian captain, knows people and has seen it himself. They're training years ago and up to today, they're training Chinese troops in winter warfare on Canadian soil. You have military age Chinese men coming through the southern border. You have Chinese women who are pregnant giving birth to, I don't know the exact number off the top, but they just fill planes up with them and send them over. So, I mean, I'm sure that number's high. I'm going to try to get that for you. Maybe I can leave it in the description or I can leave a comment later when I find the exact numbers. You could also do the research yourself to find this out. This is not new information. That's just something that I knew from a long time ago. So yeah, they're sending their children to come here to be an American citizen. It, and on top of that, they're building islands in the South China Sea, near the Philippines, military establishments. It's very clear that they are, and they also have 110 police stations throughout the world. They have Chinese districts in the United States, 50 of them. So they definitely have eyes and ears in the country. I mean, it's safe to say that things are getting pretty at it. I mean, it's definitely safe to say that they have the upper hand here. So I'm gonna try to show you guys one more. Everyone knows the spy balloon that got shot down. That was some big theater thing. So yeah, guys, that's what's going on here in the United States. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible. We could dig a lot deeper, but it would take more time. I'm trying to make this as short as possible. So there you guys have it. The Chinese government definitely has an upper hand on America, and it is my personal opinion that America should not go to war with the Chinese, the American government, as corrupt as it may be. Um, we definitely need new leadership, and we need to figure out a way to have better foreign policy. Because this is another thing, too, guys. When the government fails on foreign policy, they're going to distract you on like trans rights, right? So now you're arguing about trans rights when you should be focusing on their foreign policy. It's a CIA tactic that's been going on for years. I'm sure by now most of you are aware of it, but that's what's going on. So they're trying to distract you with things that get you upset so you don't focus on the real issue. So try not to be so distracted, guys, and to really, buckle down on what's going on. Simple searches like I just showed you will show you how, intense this actually is and how much of an upper hand they have on the American society, country, whatever. So hopefully it gets better. I say that when I laugh and say that. So I appreciate you all tuning in for this segment, guys. Will a war break out between China and the United States? Only time will tell. We know the American government is only sending money to Ukraine. It's only a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when the Chinese decide to invade Taiwan. So Joe Biden has stated that if Taiwan was invaded, we'd back them militarily. So there's a lot of things that could escalate this. So I hope for the best. I hope we don't have to go to war so we can save every civilization on the planet. Because if America and China went to war, the global economic crisis would be huge. There's more than one factor to going to war. So, yeah, guys, it's pretty intense the days we live in today. So I hope you enjoyed this broadcast. If you're a new subscriber or a new listener, a new commentator, make sure to go to the Allen Reports channel. Check out some crazy content there. We have, let me just scroll down for you. We have crazy footage from January 6th to Portland, Oregon, to the border of Mexico. I mean, you name it, guys. Been there, done that. You can check out one of my not my favorite video, but it's Cop versus the American People. That was filmed on January 6th outside the Capitol building. Check it out. Anyway, I appreciate you all. Stay with me as I get to learn StreamYard a little better. Other than that, guys, have a good night. Take care. Until next time, see you later.